Hey everybody, I want to talk about this aphantasia. I had a comment describing what aphantasia is like, and I really appreciate this comment so much. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with this and how frustrating it can be for you. I'll just copy and paste what you said in the description because I think anybody with aphantasia will appreciate it, and anybody that doesn't have aphantasia will appreciate it. I appreciated it. I'm inspired to talk about this because I want you to know, I want anybody with aphantasia to know, or anybody who's really good at visualization skills or not great at it at all. So for a living, I close my eyes and I do journeys into the infinite universe, and I describe everything that I feel, see, hear, smell, all that stuff. So you could say I have full sensory clarity, all right? But what people don't realize is that everything is in the dark. So I see everything in the dark. So you take a human being who is physically blind, and it's incredible what a blind person can see. How possibly could a physically blind human being see? How could they even have a concept of telling where anything is? They have to develop other sensory skills in order to help them see the picture, okay? Same thing, if you have decided that you have aphantasia, you've decided that you can't see, but you also have other abilities to see without seeing in full visual clarity. I want you to know that if I do a guided meditation, I don't see in full visual clarity. I see smudges and blobs and weirdness, and I don't really care about seeing. What I care about is experiencing the sensation of sight. So here I am, a human being. I'm not blind. I have good eyesight. I can see this room. But in the energy world, in the journey world, it does not look like this, okay? It does not at all. What your eyes see is not what I see in the energy world. I could care less about seeing in the energy world. This is not important to me. But what is important to me is I see through my feelings. I see through my emotions. I see through a sense of being playful. I see in other ways. I feel like I could define myself as a bat, because what do bats do? They send out that like the sonar, the radar, but what echoes back is what helps them to find their food and helps them to fly and helps them to navigate. So bats have an alternate skill set so that they can see without actually seeing. I feel strongly that anybody with aphantasia can see without seeing. And I got this like brilliant idea that, okay, I want to ask you this question. Anybody with aphantasia, or if you don't have aphantasia and you're just curious, we can have some fun together, okay? Because we want to help each other out here. I want to help you out. I want to help anybody out that wants to develop a skill to have an inner sight, a psychic sight. A psychic sight is just like a next level sense. It's just expanding the senses and gathering an intuition about things. It doesn't mean you have to have a vision and see and be jealous of people who can see, but maybe your interpretation of the idea of seeing isn't quite correct. Okay, I misinterpreted what I thought a psychic was. I thought they could see with full clarity. I thought that a psychic had all the answers, but psychics are really able to access what's something outside the box, an alternate way of seeing, and then speaking, human speaking. Like it's just another way of communicating information that is really accessing useful ideas. And I don't feel like psychics actually have answers per se, more so than they have really interesting and useful ideas that you can work with. And then you kind of guide yourself through those exchanges. That's what everybody offers, everybody, useful ideas. But sometimes we have an intuition or a sense or a hunch about things, and it comes to us in different ways. It comes to us in uniquely different ways. So you're going to have a hunch about things, and I'm going to prove it right now. I want you to describe what is a path. Like if you were to get out a Webster's dictionary and look up the word path and see what it means. Now just forget about that. I want you, someone with aphantasia, what is a path? Like if you were to actually just describe it in random conversation, you would describe what a path is. How would you have a clue how to describe what a path is? Because you can't see it. So how have you depicted somewhere in time that you know what a path is? Well, you could say, well, a path is It's somehow defined, a defined sort of elongated space, and maybe it's narrow and long is a path, and then it's outlined by like a right and a left side, but the path is it's like you can walk on it, and you can it is a defined space, okay? Like, how would you even define what a path is? Now, if you were to get a crayon and a piece of paper, because language, we use language to create definition of what we have collectively decided is a path. But if you were to use crayon and paper and draw a path, what inspired you to draw a path like that? Why did the path have to look just like that? Did you pull it out of your imagination? Did you pull it out of your logic? Did you pull it out of, I don't know, your memories of a path? And why is that your path? If you were to explain to me what is a tree, you might say to me, oh, well, a tree is based upon your memory of a tree. But where does your memory exist of a tree? Can you see your memory of a tree? Is it blurry as all get out, but you get a sense of what a tree is? All right, now draw the tree on a piece of paper. Why is that your tree? Somebody's tree might be a palm tree, and somebody else's tree might be a pine tree, and somebody else's tree might be an oak tree, and somebody else's tree might be a weird flippin' tree, like a tree that is really like different than your common memory of a tree. And so what would inspire one human being to feel like their idea of a tree is this over another human being's idea of a tree is this? Over another human being's idea of a tree is this. Now draw the ocean. Do you see how do you have the ability to take an idea from your head and then use a crayon and paper to put it on a piece of paper? And it does not have to be perfect. You're not taking a photocopy from here and then putting it identically on paper. You're putting an idea of what it means to you on the paper. So how in the world are you able to see an idea of what a tree is, an idea of what a path is, an idea of what an ocean is per se, like a mountain or a camel or a horse? And so it doesn't matter if you can actually see the horse or see the camel or see the mountain or see the tree, that you are able to depict an idea of what it means to you. Now you're going to find yourself connecting to another sense of self-awareness. If you were to allow yourself to take this is just the beginning, right? Because it's not that you have to see the horse in here to be able to draw an idea of a horse on a piece of paper. Same thing. This is the beginning of Aphantasia Goes Bye-Bye, and you're starting to acknowledge that you really can see without really knowing how you're seeing. That is the beginning of developing your psychic sight. Do you see how, is that the answer? Is that the almighty answer of the only horse that exists in all time? Like the psychic answer, the psychic clarity? That horse right there? Or is there a bajillion different kinds of horses in the whole infinite universe? Horses we've never even seen before that we would say, that's a horse. Oh my God, that's a humanoid horse. Oh my God. So now we're starting to expand of all the possibilities of horses. That's why a psychic can only provide access to a concept that's useful for you to think then for yourself about what it means to you, okay? So you're creating a reflection. You're giving yourself access to the meaning, putting the meaning on paper, and then how did you gather that meaning? That's your unique gift. That is a total blessing. Your drawing of a horse is the most unique, most precious, most special drawing the universe has ever known because it came from inside yourself. That's why moms and dads love to save kids' artwork. Or maybe they don't because it builds up, right? But because it's precious, it's like, this is the special thing that came from my child, that they put it on paper and here it is. Like, it's really special. Okay, now Aphantasia Go Bye-Bye is the goal here. Because I'm going to help you to see that you can see without seeing, okay? So we're having fun here because part of seeing is having fun and enjoying the creative exchange, laughing about it. And it's not like we're stuck in class and we have to be like all put together and be perfect and give them the right answer. And there's only one answer because that's the world we live in, is there's only one answer and we all have to know what that one answer is. No, we're all the answer, okay? And aphantasia is part of an answer. That's why like some people are blind and some people can see, and that's all part of the solution, okay? All right, so I want to go back to something here as to how I maneuver, how I fly, travel, I go places in the infinite universe, which I'm convinced that we don't go anywhere. We just work with the infinite mirror, which is inside ourselves, and then through the mirror, it presents to us what we are seeking. So it's just consciousness. It's just downloading and then uploading the information inside oneself, but going through the perception of moving. I feel like truly only in a certain dimensional phase do souls actually travel and go places. But when you're in the oneness, you're just still and complete and whole, and there's nothing else there. But that's the gift of other dimensions, is that you can have the experience of perceived travel. As I'm convinced, okay? All right, so, okay, this is about emotion. That I feel is my sonar, that's like my radar. So I don't know how to depict. Okay. Let me just close my eyes and let me get in the zone here of how I'm going to describe how somebody with aphantasia who now doesn't have it, because we're working with creativity and we understand that all answers are valuable and that they impact the betterment of human society and the growth from within, especially when we're authentic about it. Like, this is genuinely what's coming to me right now, and I'm willing to open up my heart and open up my emotions and open up my fears and open up my mind to seeing it in other ways too. But I feel this is me, and this is me right now, and this is where me wants to be right now, and maybe in 20 years me will be different, you know? And so that's all this is about, is growth, learning, development. So this is fun. Okay. Swear to God I can do this. Right now, I'm in a pitch black space. My eyes are closed, I'm in darkness. Someone with aphantasia, your eyes are closed, you're in darkness. So the goal is to see the infinite universe, but don't worry about actually seeing it. Feel present with the infinite universe, okay? That's what I do. I feel present with the infinite universe. So right now, in all pitch black darkness, I'm starting to get a gauge of where I'm standing based on my experience of where I'm standing. And I'm not working with any ideas. I'm not working with any thoughts here. I'm just existing. That's all I'm doing in darkness. I'm existing in darkness. Now I have these things called hands, human hands, okay? But I have energy hands. I have pretend hands. Take the drawing. What do hands look like? Well, I can't see hands in my brain, but I got this idea of a hand, and I don't have to look at my own hand to draw it. I know it has 5 fingers, you know. So you take what you know, you work with what you know, and then you bring it into this darkness. So I'm going to take my 5 fingers, and then I've got another 5 fingers here. So that's 10 total fingers. So I'm going to take the sensation of my hands, and I'm going to put them in my sensation of darkness everywhere. And this isn't like I'm going to look at the black behind my eyes. My eyes are closed, so I'm like going to be only in the black there. No, this is just closing your eyes, and then just, it's like being present in the darkness inside yourself. That's such a warm and cozy thing. Be present in the darkness inside yourself. Wow, that's kind of... It's not dark in there, but it is. It's like the universe is all darkness and then everything else under the sun and above the sun. All right, so in the darkness, you're going to take this, because you're going to move yourself from an experience of being present about what's outside of yourself to being present about what's inside yourself. What's inside yourself? Your feelings are inside yourself, right? So what feelings are inside yourself? Like every feeling. Do sometimes, if you were to draw the feeling of a smile, like how does that feeling make you feel? Are you able to access that feeling? The feeling of a smile, not the picture of a smile. Like, you could draw the picture of the smile, but if you were to just sit in the darkness inside yourself and then allow yourself to feel the feeling of a smile, what does it feel like to you? It's going to start to feel warm, right? And so what does warmth feel like? You could say, well, it feels like the sun, so it reminds me of the color yellow. Can you see the color yellow? How did you even come up with these ideas? These ideas! You sixth sense psychic person. How'd you come up with these ideas? You just are present with them, because you yourself know what a smile reminds you of, and it could remind you of a really attractive man or woman with great teeth. Could remind you of a toothbrush and toothpaste and a sparkling teeth in the mirror. It could remind you of, what does it remind you of? The person with aphantasia, what does a smile remind you of? And why does it remind you of that? You know, like, well, a smile reminds me of braces. A smile reminds me of, because you saw it, or because you're just talking about it, because where it was a feeling, right? Why was that the specific feeling for you about smile? Whereas for this human being, it's braces. This human being is an attractive man or woman, great smile. This human being is toothpaste. This human being, I don't know, it's dentures. This human being, it's about warm sunshine. Do you see how incredibly special each and every individual person is and how important everybody is, because we all have our unique relationship with this word smile? Is that really a psychic thing? It is, because you're getting to know yourself and you're okay to express a creative meaning about what a word means to you. But if you're wanting to go beyond just where we're standing or where we're sitting or this conversation here, this is where you're going to allow yourself to be present with the unknown. Well, what's in the unknown and how do I access the unknown? You access it based on everything you already do know. It's just that you didn't put it there. It came to you. It was an idea. It says, how do you come up with an idea that you want to buy a car today versus I don't want to buy a car today versus I better pay my bills today? Was it logical, or was it just the idea, or what was the sensation? Oh crap, today's the first, I better. Where did that even come from? Do you see how regular day-to-day life is actually more extraordinary than we give it credit for? And it's more psychic than we give it credit for. Because you see this word psychic, I feel like this word is full of a misconception about what it means to actually be psychic. Because to be psychic is like to know the future or to know everything about you before I ever knew you. And it's kind of absurd, you know? Because I can't conceivably comprehend an infinite universe. I can't even have this conversation in one flipping second, you know? I can't be every flipping thing all simultaneously. I have to go through the learning of something. I have to go through the translation of something. If someone wants me to do a session for them and I'm going into their goals, we're going to learn about them together through a fun and playful, adventurous experience where I'm not going to see anything, but I'm going to tell you everything that I see. And it's going to be crazy like that because that's how I function. That's how I work. And we all know that there's so many different personality types and people who learn better like this and people who learn better like that, and people who are really creative and people who are really athletic. And we're all different for all the right reasons. And so every person who would identify themselves as having an intuition or a sixth sense or a psychic skill, they had to find the comfort to believe in something of themselves that seemed outside the box from others in the way that they perceived information. And that perceived information could actually do some good for other people. So my perception of information is based upon how the information feels. Again, going back to feelings. This is really important here. Okay, because when I go into this, close my eyes, go inside myself, I'm accessing the infinite mirror, which is everywhere, is everything, everyone. So you are inside myself. It's pretty freaking nuts when you start doing this and you start to realize what makes me an individual and how can I be an individual based upon the reality that I'm everybody and I'm also just myself. And you'll start to have these weird messed up mind benders, but you'll be okay with it in time. What is time exactly? Did it happen 1 second ago? Yes. Did it happen 10 years ago? Yes. All those things are true. So how could I be an accurate psychic if all those things are true? Because we live in an infinite universe. All the time, you take a jar of salt and pepper or something, it'll spill it out everywhere. All that stuff is time, space, experiences that have happened, that have not happened yet, all identified, non-identified, that exist and don't exist, all simultaneously. You see how creative truly the infinite universe is? And we could say we can work with the building blocks of 1 + 1 = 2. And those are the building blocks that we have to build society upon what actually conceivably is the one and only answer. But there will come a time, vibrationally, I can tell that there will come a time, and maybe this is the time, because things are getting weird. It's like 1 + 1 = 3 these days, and nothing is adding up, and we're starting to divide between insanity and sanity. In, side of sanity? Insanity? Sanity? But what depicted the sanity and the insanity? I feel like it's always about love. So the only way to really translate and navigate is to be true to thyself. Know thyself. What does this have to do with aphantasia? How could you even see any of the things that I'm talking about? You don't have to see any of the things that I'm talking about, but you can relate to what I'm talking about inside yourself. Inside. And how can I move anybody that has aphantasia? Because you don't have to visualize what I'm talking about. We can just be two people having an exchange together, but you can be present with everything I'm saying and you can relate to everything I'm saying, not because you could imagine it or visualize it, because you could be present with it, because you could relate to me, because you could relate to yourself. And that's part of the infinite mirror. All right, because I really want to bring someone with aphantasia. Aphantasia Go Bye-Bye. I'm like, Aphantasia Go Bye-Bye. Because when that happens, it's just like there is no blind human being. Abbey, 1 + 1 = 2. And yes, there really are blind human beings. Human beings that cannot see. They can see though. And you can't argue with me about that. Well, they can't see through their eyes, Abbey. So maybe they can see through their other senses. Yes, but they can't see through their eyes. So are they actually blind? Okay. They're considered blind because their eyes don't work. So yes, they're blind. Okay, but you're telling me they can see. Ugh. Do you see how funny the truth is and how weird the truth is and how like maybe the truth is real sometimes and not real other times, and how do we really know what the truth is? Because it's the infinite truth that is real. So coming back to the heart, okay? All right, if you have aphantasia, you can still see. I'm inside myself, I'm in the darkness, and I'm present with, let's say I want to see a mountain. Aphantasia, you're not going to see a mountain, right? Because you can't see anything inside yourself. So you don't have to. But how do you know what a mountain looks like? So you just start to say, okay, I'm going to describe a mountain. My eyes are closed, a mountain. And you're going to probably try to work with the thoughts, but you're going to work with the feelings this time, okay? Aphantasia, you're going to work with the feelings this time. Aphantasia Gone Bye-Bye, you're going to work with your... Just like, that is like this keyword thing I need. Like, hashtag Aphantasia Go Bye-Bye. It's like, this is going to go viral, man. Okay, so, all right. You're not going to work with your thoughts about what a mountain is. You're going to work with your feelings about what a mountain is, okay? And you can say, well, how am I supposed to do that? What does a mountain feel like? Well, what does a mountain feel like? Well, it feels cold. And I'm like, dang, mountain feels cold. Okay, does it feel like maybe like it has textures? Like, I try to take this from the most weirdest point of view I could possibly take it. Because if we want to be completely logical about it, like we're... who's the logical ones in Star Trek? Help me with this one. They have pointy ears and they're logical and they work with logic, and it's just merely logical that a mountain would be cold. And what are those people called? Tell me. All right, anyway, we're going to be those logical people. And then we're going to work with our feelings. Because we have those, we're human beings, right? We have feelings. So... Vulcans have feelings too, and they try not to give in to their feelings because their feelings are more powerful even than human feelings. So they work with logic, okay? But we're going to work with feelings here, and we could work with logic too. As we can see, a mountain's probably cold, right? It's probably cold on the outside and cold on the inside. And mountain's probably pretty dark. Where are we getting all these ideas? I want you to tell me what your mountain shape is. Well, it's obvious. A mountain shape is going to be a triangle. Of course. Okay, so I want you to feel what a triangle feels like to you. Well, how am I supposed to feel a triangle? It doesn't have feelings. Okay, be present with the sense of a triangle. Now, when you could draw a triangle on a piece of paper. Now, without seeing it, I want you to draw a triangle inside your heart. Just draw a triangle inside your heart and now depict that as a mountain. As in, you define it as a mountain. Well, is a triangle a mountain? We're going back to that blind thing. Like, a blind person can see. Argument, okay? Well, can a triangle be a mountain? Yes, a triangle can be a mountain. I think a lot of us think of mountains as triangles. Are they actual mountains, triangles? Where do triangles exist in an infinite universe? On a piece of paper? Because we created 3 points and then connected the dots? Because we decided it's called a freaking triangle? All these things are true. This is what being psychic is. It's just truly comprehending something outside the box and expressing it on another level of sight. But sight is in a presentation of experiences. Presentation of experiences. You know what I'm talking about? You yourself are a presentation of experiences, and experiences that carry emotions, that carry interesting thought processes, that carry a longing for an interpretation of something more than just this. We're all starving for something more than just this. But it's really ourself that we're starving for. To be more true to who we are and to be able to express that and not care what other people think. It's like life in a nutshell for a human being. Okay. Aphantasia Gone Bye-Bye. You've tried this, right? You're going to imagine without imagining it, because we don't have to see. We don't have to see to be able to see, okay? And so we're going to experience together a mountain. Not because we had our human hands and we drew it on the paper. Well, was that a mountain? That's a really crappy rendition of a mountain. Gosh, you suck. You're a terrible artist. But that's my mountain. That's what you call a mountain? That's a triangle. Do you see how human beings interact? Like, we have to cope with each other. It's so crazy. Okay, so you take that, and then you be present with that inside your heart, okay? A triangle. You just be present with it inside your heart. It's beautiful. It says the most beautiful triangular mountain I've ever experienced in my whole life. And it's like you tried it. You triangulated it. You achieved it. Success. Okay. In your heart. In your heart, you don't see it. You feel triangle is there with you. What's interesting is, believe it or not, triangle is becoming a meaningful person. And that's what is coming into my heart. Anybody who wants to try this experience. We won't call it visualization. We won't call it psychic, because that kind of makes us feel strange and confused. We'll just call it an experience, right? And that experience inside our heart, right? And so now triangle is in all of our hearts. Now, like, we're all triangulating this out together. I'm so funny with the jokes today. All right. And we just feel it there. It's interesting because when we feel triangle and we feel mountain, it doesn't matter what it looks like, does it? It's just that it's our experience. It's your experience of what a mountain is to you. Not because you saw it, because you were present with it, because you felt it, because you chose to explore this, make a conscious effort without thinking, and you felt it inside yourself. See how you're opening up to the inner darkness, but yet you can see. Not because you saw, but because you were present with the experience of the mountain. And if you allow the mountain to be more than a mountain or more than a triangle, what else do you feel about it? What else would be there? I see a child drawing a picture of a mountain and then deciding to add a sun, and now deciding to add a happy face on the sun, and now deciding to draw a pond and try to draw ducks and can't really get the ducks right. But why were all these things added? Because they were always there within the heart of the child. Because the child was picking up on the sensation of the presence of a happy sunshine with the pond and ducks along with this mountain. And so you can give yourself permission to have that too. You can give yourself permission to say, wow, I feel that there's more here than just a mountain. I feel there's the presence of my great aunt that passed away and I miss her so much, right? And I feel the presence of it. You see how random this can get. You're not lying to yourself. You're not lying to yourself by saying from the mountain, there's this new experience. I feel the presence of freshly mowed grass and the smell of wet grass. Not because you saw it, but because you just experienced there's a weird movement from a mountain to now grass. It starts to be present, not because you saw it, but because you just were present with it in your heart. Do you see? Without seeing? You see how it works? And so let's say I have some client goals and they want to know about their starseed lineage. Like I, Abbey the human, I'm going to say, I don't know anything about your starseed lineage. Because I can't conceive of anything, all right? I'm the Aphantasia person because I'm a human and I don't know. So what I do is I take those goals and I place them in my heart. And I experience the way that those goals make me feel. And I know inside my feelings is the infinite universe and the cosmic mirror that helps me to see more about who you are without ever knowing what you look like. I don't even need to know your name. I don't need to know where you live. Because you choosing to connect with my soul, your soul choosing to connect with my soul is already has happened, is happening, and hasn't happened yet, even if it is existing in the present moment. Take the salt and pepper, spill it out on the table, and that is reality, okay? And so I am just remembering the exchange that we had already together. And it's coming back to me, and I'm getting to cherish it within my heart and share the memory with you that you get to decide if you want to cherish it or not, but your soul will cherish it because we decided to have that exchange together. And it's interesting because when I move through my feelings, when I move through them, I feel so many things like if I experience a starseed lineage in my heart, it doesn't have to be something familiar. Like I could say, oh, well, you're a Pleiadian or you're something familiar. No, I usually work with what's unfamiliar. I'm like the mountain that's also a triangle, that's also a spirit guide, that's also cold, that's also freaking molten lava because it's actually a volcanic mountain. And all that stuff is true, okay? I'm more like that person, okay? But I can't conceive of what the special, unique, one-of-a-kind, like, crack it open and let's see what the fortune cookie has to say to you today. I don't know what it is yet. So I get to discover it with you inside my heart, and then we uncover it together. But there's something so loving about it. There's something so vulnerable about it. There's something so sad about it. There's a soul trauma about it. And the way that I can depict this language is because I know what it feels like to be sad. I know what it feels like to be happy. I know what it feels like to be in pain. I know what it feels like to long for. I know what it feels like to starve emotionally. I know what it feels like to be lonely. I know what it feels like. And so because I know what it feels like, those feelings help me to see through pictures that the feelings create for me to exist inside my heart. So, I don't know, it might be taken to a weird lifetime where you lived on some weird planet and some alien race came. And so I don't know what it's going to be. It could be scary. It could be loving. It could be the beginning of time before there ever was time. I don't know, because the thing is it's not because I saw it, but because I was present with the way that it made me feel. Do you see how we're taking this a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further? So that way it's like we're taking it from just a basic human to human conversation, the external world, taking the idea of the path or taking the idea of the mountain, taking the idea of the beach and drawing a picture, not because you saw it, but because you have an idea of what it is. Now we close our eyes, we realize we have 5 fingers and we have 5 fingers in the darkness. And so we can use these fingers to touch things in the darkness. Not because we're working with thoughts, but we're in our heart. And so I perceive my existence in my heart is alive. And that life force energy could flow like water. It could be like a human being. It could be like a snake. It could be like the wind. It could be like starlight. It could be like anything. I don't have to know what it is like today. I'm just present with the sensation of infinite love. And through the lens of infinite love, we begin to see without having to see anything at all. Because we just simply are aware of what it means to us at the time. The more you start with this beginning and then you practice this beginning, I have been practicing this beginning my whole life because this has been this has been me my whole life, okay? But I wasn't quite aware that this was a psychic thing. They just thought it was a creative thing, that everybody did this. It's just like you in your comment, you're saying, man, I understand why people are so into guided meditation, because if I could have full-blown visualizations, I'd do it too. Well, you can, but it's just, you're going to work with a different sense of eyesight, and it's going to work with inside your heart, the way you feel present with whatever comes to you, the inspiration or the feeling of the existence of something. And it's like the argument, is the blind person really blind if they can see without their eyes? You know, is a triangle really a mountain, or is that just a really basic mountain, or is it a shape, or is it geometry, or what even is a triangle? Well, it's tri, so that means 3. It's like words versus pictures versus connecting of the dots versus math versus, it's like, and it's all true. It's all true. So let me just see if there's anything else I need to say here. Because I really feel that this exchange, whether you can keep up with it or not, just re-listen to this. Just listen to this, feel this, be a part of this fun experience with me, and then try some things out. Cry, because sometimes what's holding you back from seeing is something that you decided it was better to not see. And so there could be an emotional wall in there that needs to break down. And so if you start, let's say, working with crayons or markers or paint, and you just start drawing something, and you're going to say, well, I know what a horse looks like. And it's like, okay, you know what a mountain looks like, then put it on the paper. That's your psychic sight right there. You just drew it for yourself. Well, of course that's what a mountain looks like. All mountains look like that. Do they? Do all mountains really look like that? Because some mountains look like triangles, and some mountains look like hills, and some mountains are, it's like, you know, we can have these arguments. That's why it's about the way that the mountain feels to you, and why this is the way you decided to draw the mountain over somebody else who, you know, it's like the tree that I drew, a palm tree versus a pine tree versus an oak tree, and everybody's going to draw their own tree, their own experience of a tree. And why was that their experience of a tree? And then you go further from that, because you're going to start getting in touch with you, and in touch with you comes from the heart and not the head. And there has to be a breakdown of the rigidness between what you decided is the only thing that's real is through, I don't know, some kind of logic like the Vulcan, or really being sensitive and going into the emotional state of translating the meaning of things without knowing why it's coming to you like this. And it's okay how it comes to you. How it comes to you is accurate. It is so precious and so important how it comes to you. And then you can't put yourself down because it didn't come to you in a better way than you decided it was the best way. It's like, God, if I could take a photocopy of something and then put it like my brain into like draw it perfectly. Like I know I can't achieve that. That's not my skill set, okay? But somebody else's skill set can do that. So I'm not going to think less of myself, or I'm not going to judge myself as a crappy artist because I can't make it perfect. You know what? Like, I'm such a weird creative artist that it doesn't matter how perfect it is, okay? And so you've got to be the same towards yourself about how you perceive information inside your heart. Take it from the almighty logic and crumple up the Vulcan concept and just be vulnerable and work with your vulnerable emotions and let those vulnerable emotions reveal something truly important here. Not that you saw it, but that you experienced it and you couldn't help but say that's what your experience was. That's how it came to me. That's how I felt it. That's how I knew it was real. That was my experience. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm going to say. I hope this is helpful. It's a very good beginning. And don't forget to practice. The more that you practice, the better you're going to get at it. And then you're going to start to realize that you're traveling the infinite universe, only to realize later that there's no such thing as movement, only to realize later again and again, another thing, and another thing. And you're going to start to wind it on down to something that is really genuinely solid. I definitely can tell that somewhere in the infinite universe, there is a state of being that is like source being where you don't move anywhere. You don't, and even as a human being, I can sit here and project my consciousness anywhere in the universe. Did I go somewhere? Yes and no. Both are true. And so what is the solid answer if both are true? Do you see? how truly interesting times these are, especially when we become open like this. And what matters the most is that we're being true to ourselves, speaking from the heart, and being honest about what it means to us in the most deepest way we can access at this time. Because what it means today is going to be a deeper meaning in 10 years based upon everything you go through, how it impacted you, and the new person that you've become in time. So, blah, blah, blah. I've said a lot of stuff. Thank you for that comment. Thank you for sharing that comment and inspiration for me now to reach you and others who are Aphantasia Gone Bye-Bye. We're going to do this. And then those people who just want to understand how you can psychically see, because that's what this is all about, and just appreciating each other. So if you appreciate this video, like it, share it with others that could use some advice and might appreciate it too, and subscribe, because there's going to be more videos on the horizon. I hope you have a really great day, and thank you so much for watching.